Greetings, brothers and sisters. Um, I am Brother John Hargrove. I serve as president for UNIA-ACL Division 421 in Atlanta. Today is July 20th, 2024, and we are celebrating our 110th anniversary of the founding of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League by the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey and our ancestors. Time is 12 p.m. We've got a 4-hour program that we've put together in collaboration with the Chicago Division 429, President Clyde Banks and First Vice President, Brother Shaka Barak. Brother Shaka, would you want to introduce yourself and then President Clyde?
Sure. My name is Shaka Barak. I am the first vice president of the Garvey Nkrumah Memorial Progressive Division 429 of the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League. And I'm also the president of the Marcus Garvey Institute. And we have convened many different celebrations to honor the Honorable Marcus Garvey and to recognize the great achievements of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So on, I believe it was June the 10th, we agreed to have this 110th anniversary of the UNIA's founding, and Atlanta division stepped up. That's why we're hosting this event between our two divisions, and we hope that others in the future will be able to co-host events like this and assume some of the responsibility of what it will take to pull this off. When we're talking about 110 years worth of history, 110 years of the greatest movement that our people ever had, the largest and the first mass movement of our people, the greatest leader that we ever had. So it's going to be trying to get all of this in. So at this time, I'd like to invite my president of Division 429 to say some words. But before he does, I'd like to say that he was certainly with us all the way as we decided that we were going to do this. And he encouraged all of us, every step of the way, he encourages us to honor and to remember the life and the works of the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the great program of the UNIA. So would you welcome, please, the president of Division 429, the Garvey Nkrumah Memorial Progressive Division 429, President Clyde Banks.
Greetings all. Greetings, Brother and President John Hargrove. Thank you so much for the introduction, Brother Shaka. As always, it's always a pleasure to get together with our people and discuss the important matters of how the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey was able to lift up our people globally with his teachings and philosophy. We hope that today's event will enable those that are participating to take some of that information and apply it to what we are doing today. It's important that that legacy is upheld from the perspective of his organizing capacity, from the perspective of his vision for our people globally. It is imperative that we continue to study about the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey and the UNIA's history, and hopefully we can bring those thoughts that they had at the time and actions into fruition and reality in today's times. You know, as you know, instead of 400 million strong during Garvey's days, and we've got 1.6 billion of Black folks around the globe. And if we learn from Garvey and how to connect those masses of Black dots throughout the globe, I think we will be doing ourselves a major service. That is what is the challenge, and how we do it with today's. Today we're on Zoom as an example, and yeah, that's something certainly that Garvey did not have during the 1920s. and before that, as he formed and grew the UNIA and ACL. So again, I'm very pleased and honored to be here. And Brother John, we certainly appreciate you taking the lead. Brother Shaka, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you, President Clyde. Brother Shaka, what are your thoughts on a brief introduction for the audience? We have, it looks like 13 guests or 12 guests. You think we have time for everyone to introduce themselves, where they're from, and the office they may hold? You're on mute, Brother Shaka. You're on mute.
That would be nice, Brother John, if we would introduce ourselves and then say either what division you are a part of or what organization or institution that you are part of. So let's move through this rather quickly. You can get in where you fit in. Just introduce yourself, unless you wanted to go down this list.
I'll take care of the list. Yes, we'll go through the list. And please be brief. Name, organization, and office, if that applies. Brother Art, you want to go first? We'll just go in alphabetical order.
Art Costley, Recording Secretary for Division 421. Race first, fam.
Thank you, Brother Art. And 421 is here in Atlanta. Brother Macius.
Race first, family. My brother Macius, first vice president in Atlanta. Race first.
Race first. Next up, UNIA-ACL.
Brother Christian Powell, interim first assistant president general, parent body.
Race first. Thank you, brother. Abdul Aziz. Abdul Aziz. Abdul is yeah. Brother Abdul, can you have a mic? Okay, we'll come back if we got time. Amafika Gueka. Amafika.
The brother's on mute and his video's off.
Okay, may not want to speak. Sister Cecily, Atlanta.
Hey y'all, this is Cecily, second lady vice president for Atlanta 421. Happy to be here today.
Thank you, Sister Cecily. Sister Diane.
Greetings, everyone. Great to be here. First Lady Vice President, 421 Atlanta Division, race first.
Race first, thank you.
Division 421, First Lady Vice President.
Thank you, Sister Diane. Dr. Shams, you're up next.
Race first.
Race first.
This is Dr. Shams, longtime supporter and member of Division 421. Have my own self-government. Consider myself a sovereign rights defender and currently working to defeat Donald Trump. Peace and race first.
Race first. Thank you, Dr. Shams, as always. Yes, longtime supporter, longtime member. Brother Everett.
Oh, race first families, Brother Everett, Minister of Information and President of the Baltimore Division 106 Walker Club. Blessed to be here.
Race first. Thank you, Brother Everett. Brother Frank. Brother Frank, here.
Race first, everybody. I'm at the grocery store. This is Brother Frank from Division 106, Baltimore, and I'm the secretary/treasurer.
Race first, race first. Thank you, Brother Frank. Next, Attorney Imhotep Al-Kibalan.
Havari Ghani Africans, Imhotep Al-Kibalan, Counsel General, UNIA-ACL. Race first.
Race first. Also, Legal Defense Committee Coordinator for Division 421 here in Atlanta. Brother Luis, sorry, Luis, maybe Luis, that's probably Luis. Luis Tomlinson. All right, all right. Race first.
Hello, I'm sorry.
How you doing,
Can you
Luis?
hear me?
My apologies.
Yes, my name is Weeze Tomlinson. I do not have membership in the Atlanta organization. I am in the Atlanta area, but I am the holder of my father's certificate of membership. My father signed on as a member on May 5th of 1920. And I have the certificate in a frame on my wall.
Okay. Yeah, see, legacy.
My father was from Jamaica.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Sister Luis.
Yes. You can call me Weeze.
Weeze. Okay. Thank you. Pleasure to speak with you. Race first. Who's race first? Race first. Don't want to introduce yourself. Okay.
Oh, is that for me? I just came on.
Well, no, somebody's name is Race First, actually.
Oh, okay.
Greetings, Sister Brenda. Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself. You just came on.
All right. All right. Greetings, everyone. I think this is a great idea, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, we were saying who we are and kind of organization and office in the organization.
Oh, I am a UNIA member, and I am from Chicago, Division 401.
Thank you, Sister Brenda. Okay, we were race first. Yvonne. Yvonne.
All right. Hello. Hi. Good afternoon. It's afternoon here. Good everyone. I'm the secretary for UNIA 334 in Montreal.
Okay.
I'm your Canadian counterpart.
Greetings. I remember the name and the voice. Thank you for joining. And Sister Latil, I think you may have been the last one that I overlooked.
Greetings, family. Sister Latil from the Chicago Division 401. I am Lady President here.
Thank you for joining.
Race first. Thank you.
Okay. I think that takes care of it. Was anyone that did not get a chance to introduce themselves and their organization they're representing?
Yeah, my wife didn't.
And Sister Zafia, I see you. Sorry about that. Wife of
Yes. Can you hear
Brother
me?
Shaka.
Yes.
Greetings.
Kumar.
Yes, sir. Sister Kumar Mateen Barak, Chicago Division 429, Financial Secretary. One God, one aim, one destiny.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Kumar, for being here. And Sister Zafia, my apologies.
Greetings, everyone. One love. I am a new member of the UNIA-ACL Division 106 in Baltimore, Maryland, and a frequent visitor and collaborator with Division 421, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Always supporting. Thank you, Sister Zafia. Okay, that takes care of our introductions. Shall we proceed, Brother Shaka?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going into the official opening next, but go ahead.
No, go ahead with the ritual then.
Okay, thank you. So as we open our meetings, there should be some official rituals, whether it's just our one God, one aim, one destiny, pledge to the UNIA flag, songs, whatever it may be. We must abide by these rituals. So first thing that we do here in Atlanta 421 is the pledge to the UNIA flag. So for those that can, please stand, find a red, black, and green flag, put your black fist in the air. And if you know the words, please say it along with us. As I've learned, this is it's not a call and response, but this is something that we say together in unison. So I'll start and you say it along with me if you can. I commit my
I
body,
commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection,
protection,
defense, and
defense, and
security
security
of the
of
red,
the
of
red,
the red,
black,
the black,
and
and the
green.
green.
I
I
I
dedicate
dedicate
my
my
life
life
to
to
the
the
redemption
redemption
of
of
redemption of
Mother
Mother
Africa
Africa
and
and
the
to the
liberation
liberation
of
of
her
her
scattered
scattered
black
black children.
children. I
I
accept for
accept for
myself and
myself
my
and my
descendants the
descendants
teachings
the
of the
teachings
universal African
of African
nationalism,
nationalism.
and I promise that our children
Children
will
will
be
be instilled
instilled with the
with
purpose
the
and
purpose
knowledge
and knowledge
of
of themselves
themselves as African
as
people,
African people,
in order
in
that
order
in
that
order
the
that the
cause of
cause
our
of our
struggle
struggle
will neither falter nor
will
fail
fail
until all
until
Black
all black
people
people
are
are
free and
free and united
united through one God,
God,
one
one
aim,
aim,
one
one
destiny.
destiny.
race first. Great job.
Race first.
Thank you, race first, everyone. You can, you can mute your lines. We will open the floor for discussion in a moment, but wanted to get that out the way. Get the open mic portion out of the way. In addition to that, as we honor our rituals, we should know from the teaching of the course of African philosophy, Mr. Garvey says there's a proper form of opening and closing a meeting, as well as a proper form of conducting the meeting of the association. And they are as follows: opening with the hymn of Greenland's Icy Mountains, reading of the prayers and the rituals of the organization, and singing of Shine On Eternal Light. So we will follow that process. Opening hymn from Greenland's icy mountains, from India's coral strand, where Africa's sunny fountains roll down their golden sand. From many ancient rivers, from many palmy plains,
they call us to deliver their land from error's chain.
Go ahead, Brother Shaka. Go ahead, Brother Shaka, you got it.
Well, let me do this then. Let me do a short version, because as you pointed out earlier, we do have a time constraint. Would everyone humble their spirit, and I'll address one of the key parts of our ritual. It goes as such. Almighty God, we beseech thee to assist us with thy heavenly grace, and so prosper the godly aims and endeavors of this association in bringing peace, justice, liberty, and happiness to our race. Grant us wisdom and discretion in all our undertakings, patience under our difficulties, triumph over our enemies, and a happy issue out of all our struggles. Save us, we pray, from the great dangers of unhappy division. Take from us envy and hatred and malice and whatsoever may hinder us from union and concord, as there is but one body, one God, and one hope of our calling, one God, one aim, one destiny, so we may be all of one heart and mind and soul, united into one holy bond of truth, faith, and charity, and may with one mind and mouth glorify thee, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Again, the motto, repeat after me: one God,
one God,
One God,
one aim,
one aim,
one destiny.
one
destiny.
Thank you, Brother Shaka. Now that the meeting is officially open, the first item of the program that we discussed, Brother Shaka, was acknowledging the founding members of the UNIA. Do you have those names?
Of course. Didn't you assign me to get those names? I got them. Brothers and sisters, our president, Brother Clyde, spoke to the greatness of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Those who know their history know that our organization is the first and largest mass movement of our people. And there has to be a remembrance of those who made all of this possible. We just got here yesterday, but those who were here in the very beginning are those who we want to remember, because oftentimes we never say anything about those men and women who surrounded the Honorable Marcus Garvey. So what I've done is I went back into the records and identified the officers of the UNIA starting in 1914 until 1918. Now, what I have done is I have eliminated the names of officers that I've already mentioned. I won't repeat their names unless they have a different title, a different responsibility. So we'll mention the names, and please, let's just be observant that these are those men and women who were there in the very beginning. In fact, what I'll do is I'll say their names. If you hear me mention your relative, holler. Let me know. I just said somebody that's in your family. Walter J. Conway, C.C. Seifert, Samuel A. Duncan, Edward D. Smith Green, Ben E. Barrow, Serena E. Dandridge, Isaac Samuel Bright, Irena Mormon Blackston, Eva F. Curtis, Lizzie B. Sims, Ethel Ogden Clark, Carrie B. Miro, John Edward Bruce, Edward Sterling Wright, George A. Crawley, Julia E. Rumsford, Clarence A. Carpenter, Irena W. Wingfield, Janie Jenkins, R. Harriet Rogers, J. A. Davis, Isaac B. Allen, Irene Dorman Blackston, Walter J. Conray, Carrie B. Miro, Harriet Rogers, Irena Mormon Blackston, Isaac Samuel Bright, Irene W. Wingfield, James Perkins, Carrie B. Mayrow, Clarence A. Carpenter, F. B. Webster, Sidney Smith. Isaac Samuel Bright, James Haynes, James Perkins, Ben E. Burrell, John Thomas Wilkins, Granzaline Marshall, James E. Linton, Daisy Dunn, Amy Haynes, Carrie B. Miro, Julia Rumsford, Henry Douglas, F. B. Webster, Jeremiah Certain, George Tobias, William Wells, Cecil Hope, John Thomas Wilkins, Walter Farrell, Danny Jenkins, Hannah Nicholas, G. Wood Ford, Amy Ashwood. Y'all should give her an applause now. Amy Ashwood, May Clark, Joseph E. Johnson, Gerald Cox, Julia E. Rumford, Henrietta Vinton Davis, Edgar M. Gray, George Tobias, Richard E. Warner. And lastly, Samuel A. Duncan, Irena Mormon Blackston, Hope Billups, Eliza Hendrickson, R. Cross, Elizabeth Jackson, Samuel Bright, Louis A. Levelle, John E. Bruce, and C.C. Sefford. I took you through the names of those officers, actually up to 1919, and I'll tell you where you can find them at. You can get the book, Volume 1 of the Marcus Garvey and UNIA papers. It has a list of the officers from 1914 through 1919. And all of those men and women are certainly worthy of our appreciation, especially considering they joined and did their work 110 years ago. Thank you. Moderator?
My apologies. Thank you, Brother Shaka, for that. The only thing I can think to follow that would to be a moment of silence. This is why we're here, to recognize, celebrate the founding, not only the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, but those that also were there with him. And that's one thing we must always keep in mind. It's a team effort. It's going to take all of us, not just one or two of us. So if you wouldn't mind, we'll take a moment of silence for founding members of the UNIA-ACL.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Brother John?
Yes, sir.
The name.
The original name of the UNIA-ACL.
He said in Philosophy and Opinions, Volume 2, page 127, at midnight, lying flat on my back, the vision and thought came to me that I should name the organization the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Imperial or Communities Imperial League. African Communities Imperial League. Such a name, I thought, would embrace the purpose of all Black humanity. Thus, to the world, a name was born, a movement created, and a man became known.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you pointed that out. Where's that coming from?
127, Volume 2.
Okay. Lost in Opinions, Volume 2. What year did you say? 27?
No, page 127. Actually, go to 126 and 127. And he'll explain where the name of the organization came from.
I see it already. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, thank you for that. That's interesting that you said that. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh, go ahead, Brother John. You're among friends and scholars, and we love you.
All right.
Go ahead. Say what's on your mind.
So, in preparation for today, I was doing some research. You speak of Robert Hill papers, UNIA papers, and that's where a lot of this great information can be found. But one of the things that I had noticed that caught my attention was when you had mentioned the name, that Conservation League. It sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had heard it. But what you had just read was more of what I was familiar with of Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities Imperial League. I had heard that one before, but I hadn't heard Conservation Association. But in reading UNIA papers, August 1914, that was, I guess, in its transition or in its evolution, it was one of the names that the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey used. And in writing to the Negro race, on the Negro race and its problems, under the title of President of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, President of the Universal Negro Improvement and Conservation Association, and African Communities League. So that appeared to be one of the founding names that Mr. Garvey used for the UNIA as well.
That is correct. Yes, the Universal Negro Improvement and Conservation Association and African Imperial Communities League. That's a long name.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
brothers and sisters, y'all just say UNIA, okay? And we know what you're talking about. But now, when I said, my wife reminded me that there are other copies of Philosophy and Opinions. So some of the page numbers may have been changed.
Yeah.
But if you go into volume 2, in the first copy of Philosophy and Opinions, there's 2 volumes, right? 1 to 102 pages, and then the second volume from 100 to almost 400 pages. But in the second volume, in the 1 volume, 2 in 1, you'll find this information about where he got the name from. But moving right along, and brothers and sisters, please forgive John and I, because we've worked so hard to put this together that we are allowing ourselves to have some brief discussion for clarity as we move on. But we won't make this a habit, and please don't try to chime in on our stuff, okay?
No, don't do that.
We're going to get there.
All right. So that is the original aim. Oath of the UNIA. We'll do that briefly. And this can be found in the UNIA-ACL Constitution under Article 25. So I'll state the oath as I read it. I, Brother John Hargrove, in the presence of the Supreme God of the universe and all persons here assembled, do solemnly vow that I do here and now dedicate my whole life to the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League and the cause of the redemption of my motherland, Africa, that I shall never disgrace myself or my uniform by insubordination or contemptuous behavior of any kind, that I shall discreetly and to the best of my ability, spiritually, mentally, and physically, defend the cause of the UNIA and ACL from all enemies within and without, and also to my utmost to build up and protect the morale of its members, and to the end that God's divine purpose be speedily accomplished in the ultimate freedom of all mankind from slavery and despoliation, and particularly the cause of redemption of Africa.
Now, Brother John.
Yes, sir.
Here's how we do that. You remember at the Million Man March where Minister Farrakhan asked the men to say their name at certain points in the presentation. So what we do is we ask all of the members to read this and say their name when we get to the appropriate point. So let me show you.
Go ahead.
And all of you officers that'll be recruiting people into your organization, and you will abide by this oath, and you will administer this oath. This is how it is done. After I say I, everybody say your name. Whether you are having allegiance to the UNIA or not, or you're on your way, when I say I, say your name. Everybody come off mute, please, so we can hear you.
I, Yvonne Sam, in the presence of the
I, Louise Tomlinson.
I,
Not yet.
Hold on.
Hold on. Everybody come off mute, please.
Okay.
Some of us are elders, so you have to be patient. Give us time to come off mute. There you go. It's coming now.
Background.
Okay.
Come off mute, please.
Oops.
Canada, how you doing?
I'm not doing too badly, thank you for asking.
All right, you almost got ahead of me. I like that.
I'm sorry if I.
Oh, I like that. Love enthusiasm. Okay, Brother John, we just have a couple of more people that need to come off mute.
Oh, shit.
If everybody wants to can come off mute, Sister Brenda, Brother Abdul.
One more.
Kimya.
Mr. Brenda.
Say our oath.
One more. Come on, Abdul. Beautiful. All right. After I say I, that includes the little baby. They can say their name too. I want everyone to say your name and then follow the words on the screen. Ready? I
Barack
the supreme God of the universe and all
and
persons
all
here
persons
assembled
here assembled
do solemnly vow that I do here and now
and now
my whole life to the Universal Negro Association, African League, and the cause and extension of my motherland, Africa, that I shall never disgrace my uniform
Insubordination
of any kind, that I shall faithfully and to the best of my ability
spiritually,
defend the cause
of my
ACL,
from all
all
enemies
enemies,
without. Also, my utmost to build up morale in
members
divine
God's
purpose
divine
be
purpose.
truly accomplished in the ultimate freedom of all mankind from slavery and desperation, and particularly
the cause
of
of
the redemption
Of
of
Africa.
Africa.
Great job, everyone.
I say,
Ashe.
thank you.
You're welcome. Can I ask a question, please? I'm sorry. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I don't want to sound like an anomaly, even though we understand. I have the book here. I have the book here, but I've never seen this oath. I haven't seen anywhere in the office. Where can we get a copy, or where do I look for it? And
This is in the Constitution. This is in your Constitution.
It's in my Constitution. Okay, Sebo. That's okay.
Article 25.
Okay, I look. Okay, sure. I look.
Brother John, let me show her in the event, all of the members, all of the friends, what we're referring to. Because when the UNIA was founded, it wasn't long before we had this book, this Constitution that has that oath in it. Now, please, if you don't have a copy of the Constitution, now, Sister Diane and members of 421, I would guess you have it. Members of 429, they have it. Now, those that are in other divisions, if you don't have it, please make it known so that by the end of this celebration, we'll be able to make sure that copies are obtained so that your members have those. There have been some amendments, some changes. So there's even a later version of the Constitution, not so much changes, but make sure you get a copy of it. It's essential because you won't have what we're about if you don't have a Constitution. You won't have the objects and aims. You won't have what our mission is. You won't have the preamble if you don't have the Constitution. And since we're on the subject of that, Brother John, if you want to deliberate more on that a little later, but let me say this. In our Constitution, it talks about why the UNIA is so big, it's so expansive, it's so huge, it's so complete, because we are social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society. Anytime you're about that kind of business, you're dealing with everything that our race needs. Everything that could be conceived of is inside of that Constitution. The foundation for an empire is in that Constitution. And so you got to have a copy of that so you can know how big this organization potentially is. Thank you.
Allow me to confess, yes, I do. In fact, we have 10 copies here. It only came in yesterday from your head office. Look, I have the copy here.
Beautiful.
So I'm sorry, I didn't get it wrong to open it out. So I apologize profoundly. But we have 10 copies. Thank you.
Brother John.
Yes, sir.
Please.
All right, I'll proceed. Next item for today's program. Let's see. And it's in relation to what we had talked about on the name of the organization, but we had talked about Garvey's quote about Black man's king and his kingdom. So Brother Shaka, I had this for you to expound upon this quote. It's the first one up here. I got it from Negro's Greatest Enemy, 1923, September.
Yes, there, you have it right on the screen. Brothers and sisters, the Honorable Marcus Garvey traveled throughout South and Central America, for 2 years, he traveled through 9 countries in Europe, studying the conditions of the world, but in particular, the conditions of African people. And here's what he came to understand, that everywhere that Black men and women were in the world, they were on the bottom. So when he went to Europe and he studied in their museums and he watched their parliaments interact, and he watched their parades, and he watched the uniformed men show their powers, and when he watched the tanks that they had and saw the armaments that they had. So he raised the question, where is the Black man's government? And believe me, brothers and sisters, this was a shock to him. He never could imagine that his race, that he belonged to, that Marcus Garvey belonged to, could have not had a government. He couldn't imagine that the race that he belonged to, that had the same blood flowing through their veins that he had flowing through his, did not have a king or a kingdom. He couldn't imagine we didn't have our own president, our own country, our own ambassadors. He couldn't imagine we didn't have our own army and navy. How is this possible that the people who look like me don't have these things? He said, I could not find them. And then he declared, I will help to make them. That's a great commitment for a man to say he would help to make them. But guess what? We can do it again. We can rebuild the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League again. The African Union is standing on our shoulders. I don't know if we got to that part yet, brother John, but we can do it again. And because he taught us, whatever man has done what?
Man can do.
Man can do.
Thank you, Brother Shaka. Thank you, Brother Shaka.
You're welcome. Hey, John, let me just add one more thing to that.
Yes, sir.
You know, Europe had a dark age. And what did Europe do? I think starting with the Italians, they began to go back and study ancient Greece and Rome. When Rome had conquered most of the known world, they studied Rome. And because they studied Rome's architecture, they studied Rome's art, they studied Rome's literature, they studied everything that Rome had produced. And that is how they brought about the European Renaissance. The UNIA must have a renaissance. You cannot be happy with what's going on in the world today affecting our people, and we are not prepared to do something about it. We don't have our government, our kings in our kingdom. We don't have our presidents and our ambassadors. We don't have our men and women of bigger affairs. We have to have a renaissance. And so that is why on this day, the 110th anniversary of the founding of the UNIA, of the birth of the UNIA, we're looking back at those early members because they laid the foundation. Look at here. We are thankful to them because they gave us the red, black, and green flag. They gave us the Universal African Motor Corps. They gave us the Universal African Legions. They gave us the Black Cross nurses. These men and women whose names I read off, they gave us the Universal African Juveniles. They gave us the UNIA-ACL Choir. They gave us the African Communities League. They gave us the Black Star Line Steamship Corporation. They gave us the objects and aims of the UNIA. They gave us that constitution that the sister said she just got 10 copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us the Negro Factories Corporation. They gave us the preamble to the Constitution. They made sacrifices. Some were killed, some were shot, some were wounded, some were beaten, some were in prison. They gave us Liberty Halls. They gave us international conventions. They gave us the Ethiopian national anthem. They gave us a high council, high executive council, a Negro World newspaper. Can you see all these things that came into existence before you were even born? They gave us the Black Man magazine. They gave us African fundamentalism. Our leader gave us the course of African philosophy. We have the motto, one God, one aim, one destiny, and the slogan, Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. So this day, the 110th anniversary, we remember them because of what they left us with and what we must build upon. And I believe with all my heart that with the right information in the right hands, especially in the hands of our youth, they can do this all over again and 10 times over. The teaching's not going anywhere. The philosophy and opinions of the Alma Marcus Garvey's not going anywhere. It's here forever.
Yes,
but will we grab a hold to it, dust it off, and then begin to build like we should, division by division, division by division. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Shaka. Thank you. And again, as always, as we always should, thank you to the ancestors. As you rightfully remind us, we must build upon the foundation that has been laid by our ancestors. So that, as you said, for the youth, that's the message to the youth. We must show thanks through our work, and that's what time it is. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We will continue with this program, with this commemoration of the founding of the UNIA-ACL 110 years ago in Jamaica. Okay. Let me see. Share. I do want to share. Just don't want to back out of PowerPoint. Okay, next topic is the original aims and objects of the UNIA, which are very similar to the current aims and objects, but
that's right.
There was a small passage we were able to pull out from. As a matter of fact, let's go to the UNIA papers. We were just there. So in this article in the UNIA papers, dated July from time July to August 1914, Kingston, Jamaica. In the beginning and the inception of the UNIA. This is when the UNIA is just being founded. This article was written by Marcus Garvey. In the end of the article, the title of it, he says, some of our objects, and that's where this information, where I pulled the information from, to establish a universal confraternity among the race. So that's still.
Now, let's pause there for a minute.
Okay.
Because some of those brothers and sisters you've been working with recently have went over these inside of the book.
Yes, sir.
Course of African Philosophy.
Yes, sir.
And so they should not be just reading the objects, but explaining the objects.
Ooh.
And so if you have your students ready, let them tackle this. Because they're all explained in the course.
Yes,
Please.
sir. Absolutely. So, Brother Art, I will be calling on you, Brother Macias. Well, no, not Sister Cecily, Sister Diane, Brother Everett, Attorney Imhotep. I will be calling on you all directly. So, we'll let me go back to that screen, and everyone would like to know our interpretation of these aims. So first one, establish universal confraternity. I will give that to Attorney Imhotep. Attorney Imhotep, what are your thoughts on the first aim and object? What do you remember on what we were taught about the establishment of the universal confraternity amongst the race? Attorney Imhotep, you there? Okay, we'll come back to Attorney Imhotep. Brother Macias, you there? First Vice President.
Yes, I am.
What do you remember on establish universal confraternity? That should be, you should be happy that you got that one.
Yes.
And I'll probably come back to you for the business stuff, but go ahead.
We only have I think I only counted 9 here.
It's a little bit different from
what
became published later on, but go ahead. The first one is still the same though.
So universal establishment of a universal confraternity among the races. The word fraternity is brotherhood. And a confraternity is when it is a brotherhood and a sisterhood collectively. It's our duty to build a brotherhood, sisterhood amongst our race. The spirit of family is different. When you look at people as a family, it's different from looking at people as a team member. It's different from looking at people as a coworker. It's different from looking at people as a person who you're working with. There's a level of patience that and endurance that comes from when you're a family with somebody, when you connect with them for a lifetime. And that's our goal, is to establish it where we are all connected for a lifetime, where we understand our connection and our duty together for this great aim that we've all come together to be collected for. And that's for the upliftment of our people. So in our mindset, we all should see ourselves as a confraternity of people who are committed for a like-minded goal, a like-minded purpose, and that's for the upliftment of our race first.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great start. Yes, absolutely.
That was very good. What's his name?
That's Brother Macias Tentu, First Vice President for Division 421.
Let me ask him a question. Macias, I was taught by the man taught by the Honorable Marcus Garvey. I can ask these kind of questions.
Yes, sir.
My question to you is, when this was written in 1914, what was the estimated number of Africans in the world? Macias?
Yeah, Macias, that's you.
Art?
Yes, that's me. That's me. That's definitely me. That's a great question. That's estimated number of Africans in the world when this was written in 1914.
Macias.
Yeah, I want to guess.
You look upside down.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. You almost got there. I'm gonna help you with this one, Amacius, but you gotta stand up right.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? Did that fix it?
Amacius.
No, you're upside down.
Oh, his camera?
Amacius.
Now you're good.
All right.
Good now? That works?
Brothers
Yes.
and sisters, I'm not trying to in any way give Amacius a hard time, or any of you, but you must understand this. Because all throughout the teachings of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he always talked about how many people he was talking to, how many people he was trying to save, how many people he was trying to redeem. He always talked about how many. Brother Clyde, how many was he talking about trying to redeem, trying to save, trying to bring inside of the Universal Negro Improvement Association? What number was that?
400 million strong.
400 million.
400 million.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when this was written, that's who they had in mind. Brother Clyde, how many do we have in mind today?
1.6 billion.
Say it again.
1.6 billion.
All right. Thank you, Brother Amacius, and thank you, Brother Clyde. Brother John, please
Yes, sir.
continue.
Anybody got any music playing in the background? Please keep it low or mute your mic. All right.